This is the finale of a 3-part series. To see parts 1 and 2, check out the links at the top of this video. On our last day, we were heading down to Nanaimo to take the ferry back to Vancouver, and decided to take a logging road down to Gold River. It was another beautiful sunny day in this incredibly wet part of the world. The weather was so nice we were considering staying out one more night before heading home. This beautiful road weaved through valleys, between huge mountains and along pristine, crystal clear lakes. And again, there were barely any people around. At one point, we went up a logging spur to see how high up we could get, and got treated to an amazing view of the mountains across the valley and the lake below.
It's pretty awesome.
This is nuts. It's so good. I didn't think we could have another awesome day.
Yeah, we've been on the island, just like coastal stuff, beaches, marshes, ancient old growth forests, but now we're in like snowy, high altitude mountain range.
Yeah, like mountain lakes and shit. Not alpine lakes, but mountain lakes. Giant lakes surrounded by insanely big peaks.
Got all our stuff in the back there.
Oh, absolutely gorgeous.
Absolute madness.
Just before we got to Gold River, we took a detour to Upana Caves. The road taking us up there only gained a few hundred meters of elevation over several kilometers, but somehow there was several feet of snow accumulated, so that the road to the caves was blocked. Following some other tracks in the snow, we walked about 15 minutes into a snowy, forested winter wonderland and made our way to the caves. Once again, I've never been spelunking before, as I generally am not a huge fan of small dark spaces, but this seemed minor enough. Combined with the waist-deep snow, this was yet another unexpectedly unique experience as a cherry on top of the previous week of backcountry splendor. Upana Caves is made up of multiple small caves with one main cave that is 70 feet high where the Upana River goes underground. Unfortunately, during this time, the battery on my headlamp was dying, so it was not bright enough for the GoPro. I handed off the camera to James to try and capture the cave within.
I think that's the way over there, see that?
Let me just, so people can see, have a sense of scale here.
There is a hole there, you could get through if you really climbed.
You could.
Or if you really crawled, rather.
Fuck everything about that.
This is the massive chamber where the river goes underground. Once we were done with the caves, we got back on the pavement and took the highway back to Nanaimo, passing through Strathcona Provincial Park. The 10:30 ferry ride back to Vancouver brought finality, closure, and an opportunity to reflect on all the luck and surreal experiences of the past 9 days. In the summer of 2020, I hiked Mount Sheem with James and had a realization that I can only describe as spiritual. It was the recognition of a feeling that I have almost every time I go into the wild. Many ancient cultures have various types of rituals and celebrations that all have the same basic purpose: to thank the land that they are on. Whether the land is providing the bounty of life or simply being a place of awe, these rituals are deeply ingrained into the various cultures. This is something I feel is lacking in modern society, especially in the West, which boasts a very anthropocentric mentality. We build skyscrapers that block out the vastness of the sky and point bright lights into our eyes so we forget about the stars. We stand in awe at marvels of engineering, saying, "Look how big that building is," but just beyond is a mountain that rises thousands of meters above sea level, and an old-growth forest with trees hundreds of feet tall that just ended up there. I believe there are certain places in the natural world that humbles a person and dissolves the ego. Places of spatial and temporal scale beyond comprehension of the brief existence of an individual human. Oceans, forests, mountains, stars, and caves. All of these places take the ego and toss it into the back where it belongs. Yet in the modern world, all of them have been taken away, hidden from sight, and beaten back to make room for what is disguised as progress. We forget that the concrete under our feet was once a lush forest or vast grassland or productive marsh. We literally can no longer touch or see Mother Earth, and we can't contemplate the stars and what lies beyond. Our thoughts and our psyches are exponentially shrunk down to the size of the tiny shoebox cities that we live in, and in turn the individual becomes exponentially larger. We have lost the ritual, the celebration, and the thanking of the bounty the world has provided us. My trip up to Mount Sheem in 2020 made me realize that I was taking from this earth and rarely giving pause to reflect and celebrate this magnificent world that I am a part of. And this trip allowed me to really embrace that connection with the world and people around me. To dwell on the idea that the fact I have the opportunity to experience these unreal places on such an inhospitable universe is a gift worth celebrating. So next time you find yourself lucky enough to stand in an old-growth forest, on the edge of the ocean or on top of a mountain, take pause and thank the earth and whatever entity resides within. Touch the trees, sing to the waves, and swim in the stars. Celebrate your unity with the universe, because I can think of no better reason to celebrate than getting to live this life on this magnificent planet.